out this year, so I think it's a good time.
It's strong, and the Bookers, of course, is part of the reason I thought I'd talk about books this week is because the Booker Prize has been big in everyone's mind, and is that still a prestigious award, or is it no longer thought of in such high esteem?
Well, there's a lot of controversy about the Booker Prize this year. A lot of journalists have been making stories out of it. They always make stories, but this year there's been some particular ones. The biggest one was that Jordan's novel has outsold every book on the Booker shortlist.
Wow, Jordan's and what is Jordan's novel like? Do we know?
You've not read Jordan's novel. You didn't tell me how to read Jordan's novel. You said read the books on the Booker list.
I know, but I'd have assumed you'd have picked up Jordan's novel, perhaps when you're down Asda.
Yeah.
As everyone else has. It's outsold all the others.
Yeah.
Now that surely cannot be good news for the book trade.
Well, that's what they say. I mean, there's also Robert Harris in the Evening Standard who says that the Booker Prize is an outdated prize because it doesn't recognise people like Jordan. And
really?
Yeah.
And
him, of course.
Of course, yeah, because he's sort of a populist writer. And so, of the Booker books, was it The Gathering? Is that the one that won?
That's the one that won, yeah, by Anne Enright. Yeah.
Okay, now what can you tell me about her? She's quite a. Actually, no, I was going to be disrespectul to the woman, but she's quite a sort of unusual-looking lady. I don't know.
You didn't say I had to comment on the author's looks.
That's good. I want you to give me a brief appraisal of them and their dress sense before talking about their book.
You said you were getting classy, which I thought was unusual because you got Rufus in the studio. So how can I be more classy than Rufus for a start? Then you said read the books, and you want me to read Jordan's books, and now you want me to appraise the beauty of the various.
Okay, well, leaving aside Anne's particular looks,
I like how you call her Anne now as well.
Okay, pretty personal.
You've been around the house. She's ugly. That's what you're saying.
I never used the word ugly.
Funny looking. That's what
okay. So what's the in 8 words or less? What's the basic premise of the book?
It's a bleak family saga set in Ireland about a boy who's abused and then commits suicide.
Goodness me, you've lowered the tone there a bit. What were you thinking?
You asked me to describe
I bet Jordan's book's not about that. No wonder I outsold it. Now, it's obviously stood above the pack for the Booker judges. Did it stand above the crowd for you?
Not really. I mean, it's okay. I mean, it's beautifully written, but it is very boring.
Is it quite weighty?
No, it's not particularly long. It's about 250 pages.
Right.
You can get through it in a couple of hours.
Now, obviously, I judge a book based on its length and its cover.
Yeah.
They say you shouldn't. I do. Would I be picking up The Gathering?
No, you'd be picking up on Chesil Beach by Ian McEwan because that's only 39,000 words. So
okay.
It's almost there was a big controversy about whether that should have been allowed to be on the Booker because it's so short. So I think that's the one for you.
Now, McEwan, obviously a big hitter, a big literary hitter. It's a book that has tickled my fancy, although obviously I've not read it, being illiterate. But what's the premise?
It's a couple, and it's set in June 62, and it's before the sexual revolution, and this couple get together, and they have a night of passion that's there, supposed to be a big wedding night, but things go wrong, and it ruins their lives forever.
Wow, you've hooked me in.
Yeah,
you've hooked me in. And did you enjoy it?
Yeah, I think it's the best book on the list.
Really? Yeah. And are you a McEwan fan generally?
Yeah, I think he's one of the few, big-name writers who's carried on having a respectable career. In his later careers, kept producing good books.
And where does this sort of fit in his oeuvre? Is it way up there?
No, it's quite throwaway, but it's still good. It's still better than everyone else, even though it's a throwaway book.
So you think this is the one that I should go for?
No. I've thought this carefully. I've got a book for each of you.
Wow, each of the gang is. Wow, okay, nice. So who would?
It's not unusual. I think what I said about The Gathering, that it's not Harry's sort of thing, but there is lots of sex in it.
Okay,
so I think that one's for Harry.
Yeah, pretty.
Well, I don't know what it is about you, Harry, particularly, and what he knows of you that would. Sex would.
Everyone likes a bit of raunch, don't they?
That's true.
Every what is it, Matt? 75 pages is the rule, isn't it? Throwing a bit of raunch.
Well, there's every 7 pages in this one, so
really?
I think you'd like it.
Oh, fantastic! It's gonna be trouble on the train.
Oh, goodness me. Okay, so Harry's happy. He's got something to read.
Yeah.
What about Rufus? He's super posh, as you know. I mean,
well, I think Ian McEwan's fairly posh as well, so I think On Chesil Beach is a book for him. Also, it's set in 1962, and I imagine that's a period that Rufus lives in on a daily basis.
This idea that because I'm posh, various attributes could be, obviously Rufus likes living in the 60s, obviously Rufus likes wearing tweed. What? But I'm a big McEwan fan, so thanks for the recommendation.
There you go. He doesn't need the recommendation.
Now, Sammy's a lady, so is there something that's about makeup and stuff?
Well, actually, I've chosen the 800-page novel for Sammy,
really?
which may sound a bit ambitious, but it's by Nicola Barker. It's called Dark Walkmans, and Nicola Barker's a big indie music fan. She's into her Bonnie Prince Billy, and
Right.
you know, and so this is a book. It's quite a weird book. It's set in Norfolk. It's the third visionary narrative of the Thames Gateway, as she describes it. But there's a lot of stuff about being in a supermarket, which you mentioned earlier.
Oh, then I love it. That's fine.
Right, that's
my
fine.
boot.
Yeah, that's what I thought. Yeah.
That's actually quite handy, 800 pages, because I do 7 hours on average on a train just doing the show, because I come down 3.5-ish hours and then go home 3.5-ish hours, so that might be perfect.
Do you know what I'm thinking? I'm thinking we should get you to read these books.
Fine,
Yeah.
Well, ideally.
Review.
Yeah, well, I mean, why not? It's Richard and Julie's book club has become a phenomenon, hasn't it? You know, they single-handedly now can make books top sellers. You know, obviously we've got none of that power, but it might fill up 5 minutes next week. So why not? Okay, so Harry, you're all set for the erotic, The Gathering.
Yeah, sounds great.
You've only got a couple of pages to read, Super
worry
Posh,
about
and that's great. And so what about me?
Well, the book I've got for you is about a man who thinks he's a monkey after an industrial accident.
Was this on the book list?
Yeah, apparently. He walks around. It's called Animals People by Indra Sinha, and it's about a man who's he's caught in an industrial disaster, loses all his faculties, and wanders around with a giant erection. Am I allowed to say that?
Yeah, why not?
Yeah, a giant erection, and worries about this for most of the book, so maybe there's some stuff
Not
for you there.
another book about a monkey man with a giant erection.
Can we not all read that one? That sounds so much more
That's
fun.
my favourite.
Have you read it?
Yeah.
Is it good?
Good. Along with the McEwen, they're both good.
But well, I mean, it almost sounds like it defies description. It's is it a meditation on what that might be like? Or
It's
is it-
mainly anger from the monkey man.
Right. It almost sounds like it could be sort of a superhero book. You know, he's got caught in an industrial. You know, he falls into a vat
So
or
you're
something.
loving it.
like
I
that.
knew it'd be right for you.
Yeah. How many pictures?
No pictures, unfortunately.
Okay, all right. And well, I'm very excited. What's that one called?
It's called Animals People because he calls himself Animal.
Right,
Like
okay.
the Muppets, man.
Sure. Again, you really know all the buzzwords to get me reading books. Okay, well, listen, we'll play a tune that's vaguely book related, and we'll come back. We'll talk to Matt some more. Here's the book I haven't read by Lamb Chop. It's like it's been thought through, people. Lamb Chop and the book I haven't read, and we are talking books today on the Steve Show. We're pleased to welcome. We should have another sort of Steve Wright style round of applause as we welcome back Matt Thorne, a man who's written 6 novels, 8 Minutes Idle being among them, A Tourist, Child Star, and Pictures of You. I feature in those. In so there's I don't know how. What's the term? I mean, it's not quite a roman clef, is it?
Yeah, no, that's right.
Is that right?
Yeah,
Is that
yeah,
right?
yeah,
It's
yeah.
you know, I'm there.
He's good. He's throwing in the literary terms
Oh
there.
yeah, I know what I'm talking about. Oh yes. Well, you explain it now. I mean, I've mentioned
It's
the word.
French for key novel, so
Yeah.
the characters are real in the book. So.
Oh, yes, not just a pretty face. And yes, so if you'd like to see me in sort of
Compromising
vague,
positions.
vague literary guise, then check out some of Matt's books. But we, aside from, you were going to recommend some other books as well that are just out there, not non-Booker books. But before we do that, we'll just mention this book that you've contributed to, 10 Bad Dates with De Niro, a book of alternative movie lists. It's quite weighty. I'm getting the impression that perhaps this will be best placed in the lavatory.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a lavatory book, and there's nothing wrong with that. This is what? Just lists of what?
It's comic lists from films, so there's lists of 10 films. Everybody's come up with these weird lists. The main title one, 10 Bad Dates with De Niro, about the 10 worst ways that De Niro's treated women on film.
Right.
Which you can imagine.
Yeah.
I did 10 Dodgy Robots was one of mine.
Right, what's the dodgiest?
I think it's the one out of Short Circuit.
Yeah, because he's short-circuited, of course.
Yeah, that's it. He's it. Number 5 is alive.
Yeah.
And I also did top 10 nightclubs you wish were real, film nightclubs you wish were
Right.
real.
Yes. There was quite a cool one in The Terminator, as I recall.
Oh, I didn't mention that
Yeah,
one.
that had
That
pretty
would've been
groovy.
good.
Yeah,
Collateral? Good one in Collateral.
Oh,
Remember
yeah.
that one?
You're showing my ignorance.
What's your top nightclub?
My top nightclub? I can't remember that. I think it's the one out of Twin Peaks. I think it's the
Oh,
film,
yeah.
the Power and the Glory one.
Well, that's
Everybody's-
yeah. People are getting nude in there, and it's very loud, as I recall. You can't hear what anyone's saying.
Yeah.
I don't like the idea, though.
And
Which bit?
but you're saying there's also an event attached to this book.
Yeah, there's an event tonight at 9 o'clock at the Delegate Centre at the new BFI South Bank, and 10 people are coming along from the public to read their lists, but anyone can come in. There's 70 seats there tonight, and I don't think it's sold out.
So people come in and offer their lists up, and
Yeah,
what
it's
you,
gonna be
you,
kind of
you
film-
adjudicate them.
Film idol type thing, where everybody's going to stand up with their 10 lists, and we're going to decide who's the best.
Right. I see. So it's going to be quite X Factor-esque.
Yeah,
You'll be
yeah.
sort of vicious cowl-like figure.
Exactly. Yeah.
Okay, so
Very well.
aside from the bookers, anything else that you can throw our way? You know, I'm suspecting there's a lot of people out there like me who've not got time to browse through the shelves at giant bookstores and choose something. So, what would you recommend? What would you send my way if I was asking you for something?
I'd recommend Douglas Copeland's new book, The Gum Thief, which
Right.
is really good. I mean, Douglas Copeland's somebody people probably know for Generation X and the early work, but this new book, The Gum Thief, is really good. It's about a guy who works in a stationery store, and there's a goth woman who works with him, and he starts imagining what her life might be like and writing it in a book, and she discovers it.
And you know, what's the sort of mood and tone of it? Is it light? Is it comic? Is it dark? Is it grim?
No, it's comic, light and comic.
Light and
fun.
comic?
Yeah.
You know, because again, obviously anything too heavy.
Yeah, you know, I mean,
and I'm
comedy
switching
books,
off.
you know.
Yeah, it's all about comedy books for me. Great, well listen, we might ask you for a couple more choices before the end of the show, but we need to squeeze in some more music before the news. Here's a new tune from the Mules, This Is Your Life. New tune from Mules, that's called This Is Your Life. It's the Steve Show, BBC 6 News. Back after the news. Gravity's Rainbow from the Klaxons. It's the Steve Show, BBC 6 Music with me, Stephen Merchant. The show, and we've been trying to be a touch more culturally informed this week and avoid the BBC being accused of yet more dumbing down. And we already found out what Sammy's forthcoming cultural highlight of the week was. Rufus, what about you?
Steve, I've got two or three things to mention. Two free things and one very, very expensive thing. I'll start with the free things, which are BBC 4's lavish new production of Fanny Hill.
Okay, now I've seen the trailers for it, but am I right in saying that you might be making an appearance in that?
Steve, you're absolutely right. I shall be giving my scenery-chewing, stammering performance as Mr. Norbert in the second episode of Fanny Hill, which airs a week tomorrow. But tomorrow's episode introduces the fantastic Rebecca Knight as Fanny Hill, Alex Robertson as her lover, and it's a wonderful, wonderful adaptation by Andrew Davies, and it's very naughty. I've actually banned my parents from watching it.
Really?
Yeah.
And you, of course, are in one of the naughtiest scenes by the sound of it.
I am in a fairly naughty scene in the second episode.
You actually expire whilst
On the job.
on the act of...
Yeah.
I do.
Would you give us a brief example of your stuttering?
Why would you want me to give an example of that?
Brilliant,
Yeah.
brilliant. So I'm looking forward to that in a
It's
week or so's time.
Quite a lot of acting going on there. And the other free thing is there's an exhibition at Photographers Gallery. I don't know if people are familiar with Photographers. I'm sorry to be London-centric here, but it's on Cranbourne Street in Covent Garden. It's just next to the Arts Theatre. It's always free. You can go around it in about kind of 20 minutes, and there's an exhibition of unusual American photographs of kind of found objects and kind of firework testing sites and radioactivity and people being experimented on extraordinary weird corners, kind of Area 51 style America photographs of that. And it's a beautifully presented gallery, Photographers Gallery. It's really well presented. And the very expensive thing is that tickets have just gone on sale for Othello at the Donmar Warehouse, but they're sold out. This is Ewan McGregor as Iago, Chiwetel Ejiofor as Othello, and Kelly Riley as Desdemona. eBay is what I'm thinking, and expensive eBay at that. The tickets sold out in about 2 hours. This is for a 3-month run. None of your Oasis at Nebworth tickets going. We're talking about filling every single seat in the theatre. So if you can get tickets to Othello and you want to flog onto me, that's all good, because I don't know how I'm going to get any.
Are you saying beg, borrow, or steal?
I'm saying kill for a ticket. I'm saying kill for a ticket, yeah.
Wow, they all sound excellent.
Yeah.
Harry, if there's one man I think of when I think of the word culture, it's not you.
Well, you say that, Steve. As Ruth says there, we're often very London-centric on the show, so I've tried to come up with something that literally everyone around the nation could do. And I was in the pub last night for the rugby, obviously, and I couldn't help but notice the kind of highbrow crisps you get these days.
Really?
You know, often in the past I'd go for maybe a salt and vinegar. These days you can get sea salt and cider vinegar.
Okay.
Also, for example, cracked black pepper and sun-dried tomato. There are many, many different options that people can try now. Just try something new, you know, there's so much out there.
Thank you very, very much indeed. And, hey, what's your favourite crisp? Why not get in touch? Okay, Jude, let's play some music. From 1974, Richard and Linda Thompson, and I Want to See the Bright Lights Tonight. It's the Steve Show, BBC 6 Music. And, of course, one of the key elements of the show, one of the show's trademarks, of course, is that it's not all about us playing music to you, the listeners. You can also get in touch with us and recommend tunes, stuff we may be unfamiliar with or we may have forgotten. And one of our frequent contributors is the wonderful Zeenat. Zeenat, are you there?
Of course, as always.
A little round of applause on the Steve Right. Oh, yeah.